Guys, what I'm about to do is walk you through 9 different types of houses that I never want you to buy. I mean, never, ever, 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 ever. Please do not buy these types of houses. Please do not do this. Your outcome will be, if you're disciplined enough to not buy these types of houses after watching what I share with you today, that you're gonna make a lot more money, you're gonna be way happier, you're not gonna get burnt out, and you're not gonna spend the next year trying to figure out how to get yourself out of all these bad messes that you got yourself into. Your money's gonna be tied up, and real estate is not a quick fix. It is forgiving, but it's slow to forgive. It takes a long time, and a bad deal can easily take a year, 2, or sometimes 3 years, sometimes a lifetime to get out of, right? So I don't want you to buy these types of houses. I need you to understand this one very, very, very important lesson. It is better to not buy a house at all than to get caught up in the emotion and let your emotions lead you to buying a bad deal. Because if you buy a bad deal, it's gonna be a very, very bad next 6 months to a year for you, and I don't wanna see that happen to you. I'm gonna share with you some reasons why I've been through these and why I really want you to avoid going through them as well. So let's talk about the first one, buying a house with a bad layout. So what most investors do is they get into this situation where they start learning the business and they've been in it for 6 months and all of a sudden they're an expert, right? They've hardly bought any houses or they wholesaled houses and they're like, well, the comps say this, well, the comps say that, the comps say this. Comps are shit, right? A house is gonna sell what it's gonna sell for. We play with ranges, not what the comps say. Just because the comps say something about a certain house, say a house is 1,400 square feet and all the other 1,400 square feet houses are selling for X amount of dollars price per square foot, that doesn't necessarily mean that your house is gonna sell for that if it's got a horrible layout. If nobody wants to live in that house, it's gonna be hard to sell it. If it's harder to sell it and everybody else's house has a better layout than yours, people are gonna buy those houses which are your competition over the one that you have. So what are some types of bad layouts that I've run into in my career that I want you to avoid? So number 1, not having the master bathroom inside the master bedroom. If the master bathroom is in the hallway and that family member or the parents or the people that own the house have to get out of their room, walk into the hallway just to get ready in the morning, say they have guests or family members or other people walking around all the time, this is a deterrent for most people. This is a very big deterrent, so please do not do this. What about another situation, a bad layout with a master bathroom? If people have to walk through another room to get to the master bedroom, to get to the master bathroom, this is a very bad situation as well. It should be easily accessible. It should have multiple entrances if you have multiple parties living in that same house that need to use that same bathroom. So if it's a 3-1 and it's inside the master bedroom, but everybody else in the family has to go through that bedroom to get there, that's not gonna be a very good layout for the people that potentially wanna live there. And another bad layout, and something that you really need to focus on and try to avoid, is this, and this is correctable, right? Do not buy a house and ever put 2 standing showers. You need to have at least 1 bathtub. I see people do this all the time and they take out a bathtub and they put 2 really nice standing showers and they just destroyed themselves because they eliminated a huge part of the market, right? What if they have children, young children that they need to bathe in the bathtub? What if they're older and they have to sit down to basically bathe themselves? How can they do that in a shower? So I just gave you 3 really good examples of bad layouts, guys. Please pay attention to this. It's gonna save you a bunch of headache and you're gonna make a bunch of money if you buy the right types of houses. But these types of houses, if they have a bad layout, will not sell for the full market comps. I promise you, right? Number 2, additions. This is what's really frustrating to see a lot of investors get hurt on because they think somehow that there's an addition on a property that's added square footage. Say the house is selling at $100 per square foot. If you add 100 square feet or 200 square feet or 300 square feet, almost always will you never get that full amount price per square foot that the original build of the house gets. Also, guys, pay close attention to this. If you're converting a garage, I see this all the time with wholesalers. The house will be 1,400 square feet. It'll be a 400 square foot garage. And then they'll say all of a sudden the house is 1,800 square feet. They'll times that by the price per square foot of the house as if that's the new value. As if that garage that they eliminated has no value at all. Guys, garage conversions are mainly for people who are doing owner financing and renting properties because they can get higher rent if they add an extra bedroom. But if you're trying to retail houses and sell houses, garage conversions are not good, especially if you're in a neighborhood where people value, which is usually an upper middle class neighborhood, having a garage, because most families have a car for the husband, a car for the wife, a car for their adult children, however many they have, and they need a garage, right? They need a garage for storage. Guys, this is a bad idea. You do not just simply gain the square footage of a garage conversion plus additions. If they're done poorly, unless they're done very, very well, you're never gonna get that same price per square foot, and people run their comps as if they do, and they get murdered and they lose a bunch of money. Negative backup. What the hell does this mean? So what does it mean when I say a negative backup? I mean that your house is backing up to something that's negative, that's gonna affect the price of the property. If it's backing up to power lines or train tracks, guys, think about it. If it's backing up to a commercial strip, like a strip club or a liquor store, this is not gonna get you the same price per square foot as the other comps. It just doesn't. I don't know why people think it does, but people do this all the time, and it makes it's a huge mistake, and it hurts them big time, right? So just be very careful. Now, if it backs up to something positive, a golf course, water, a lake, a creek, that is more valuable land. It's waterfront. It's gonna increase the value. Don't buy something that's gonna make the value go down. Now, other investors' numbers. It still shocks me that people do this, right? You should never take another investor's numbers, another agent's numbers. You always run your own numbers. I can't tell you how many people call me every single week and say, Connor, I understand that you're a real estate coach, you have students all across the country. I got into this deal and it's not working out that well. And I'm like, well, what do you think the numbers are? Did you run your own numbers? Well, here's the thing. I bought it from a wholesaler, and that wholesaler said it was going to sell for $250,000, and we're struggling selling it for $180,000. Well, shouldn't have trusted someone else's numbers. If you do not know how to run your numbers, then you should find someone to partner with that does until you figure it out on your own, because you should never trust an agent or another wholesaler, the person who's gonna make a commission or a chunk of money off you if they can convince you that it's gonna sell for more. Why believe the person that's making money off you? Make your own decision on your own. Now, structural issues, guys. Now, I'm not just talking about foundation issues. Here in Texas, we have really bad foundation issues. So does Mississippi. A lot of parts of the country do. I'm talking about major structural issues, especially if you're on an incline. Some parts of Tennessee and other parts of the country, houses are built on the side of a hill. If you have major structural issues, this can destroy your life because it's going to be very, very expensive. They have to drill piers super deep, and basically, these houses could be torn down. I see people make bad decisions. They go ahead and close on the property before they bring a structural engineer out. So I'm not saying don't ever buy a house with bad structural issues, but please, before you do, make sure that you talk to a structural engineer first and know the price that you're gonna have to pay. Don't ever close on a property if you don't know what you're doing, unless you know what you're gonna have to pay to fix it up. This is a very big mistake. It's gonna hurt you. Now, biggest. What do I mean the biggest? I mean the biggest house on the block. If every house is 1,400 to 1,800 square feet, do not buy the super mansion that's 3,000 square feet, that's sitting out, that looks like Cowboy Stadium in the corner. It's gonna be impossible to sell. It's gonna be very tough. Plus, what a lot of new investors do not understand is, as you go up in price, as you go up in the size of square footage, a 1,200 square foot house that's selling for $100 a square foot, that $2,400 square foot house is not gonna sell for $100 a square foot. The bigger you go, price per square foot goes down. This is very important. I see this mistake being made all the time. People will look at subdivision comps. They're like, 6 houses in here are selling at 100, 101, 102 a square foot, but they're all like 1,400, 1,600 square feet. And then they take a 2,400 square foot house and they assume that it's selling at the same price per square foot when it's really selling at maybe $80 a square foot, and people get murdered. And this is how you hear these horror stories about people losing a bunch of money on houses. Be very careful. If you don't know how to appraise a house, or you don't know how to run numbers and have accurate comps, bring someone in for consulting, call an appraiser, bring someone in who knows what they're doing. This business can be risky, but if you do it right, you're gonna make a fortune and change your life. Now, comps kind of goes in the same thing. If you don't have comps, do not buy the house, right? People buy houses all the time, and then they come to me and they're like, well, there weren't really any good comps, but I saw one that was like 2 miles away that kind of looked like the house. Guys, if there's not good comps supporting your decision, don't buy the house, right? It's way too risky, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Now, you can't buy houses off emotion. You can't just simply say, I feel like this is a deal. I hear this all the time. Well, I feel like this is just a really good deal. I really think that this is a good deal, but they have no facts and reason behind it. We don't buy houses off emotion. We buy facts off numbers, or we buy houses off numbers, facts, and reason. That's how we buy houses, so we don't get hurt. Just don't go buy a house because you feel like it's a good deal, because you're gonna feel like shit once you buy that house and you can't sell it. This one's a very important one. Some of your old low-end markets. What is a 1-1? That is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, also called a shack with a bathroom in it, right? Do not buy a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house. They're very hard to keep rented. In fact, while we're on it, really you should not be buying 2-bedroom, 1-bath houses. But I understand a lot of y'all have older markets and there's a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bath houses that were built back in the day. If there's a lot of them in the subdivision and that's all that's there, you're okay with it, right? Because that's all that's available. But if you have a bunch of 3-2 nice brick houses in a neighborhood and everything else is a 1-1 or a 2-1 that doesn't fit in, you're never gonna get people to buy that house or rent the house, or they're gonna continuously move out, guys. Think about it, right? Who buys a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house or 1-bedroom, 1-bath, right? It has to be either a single individual, a single mother, or a very small family. You're eliminating a huge part of the market. Nobody wants these, but please don't go try to add additions, guys. Another thing is, while we're on it, I see people getting hurt left and right trying to add additions, thinking that somehow they're gonna add the square footage to it and make it a 3-2, and it's gonna be worth the same as that nice new 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's a little bit newer down the road. It doesn't work that way, guys. Please protect yourself. Please have someone in your own market that can help you with this, a mentor that's gonna save your life. Now, the last one. Use some common sense. Trust your gut. If it feels bad, it is bad. Go with your intuition. If you think that this somehow could turn bad on you, it probably will. If you're trying to make a deal, like if you're trying to figure out if I do this, if I do that, if I do this, and it's somehow gonna be a deal then if I do this, that is usually not a deal. You're not getting creative. You're not being a transactional engineer. You're trying to convince yourself there's money and profit in a house that's not really there, and you're about to put yourself in a bad spot, guys. I really don't want you to get hurt. I've bought a lot of these types of houses, which is how I know. I've had a lot of headache getting out of them. In fact, I still have one that I'm struggling to get out of right now, and I still make mistakes today. So please avoid these types of houses at all costs, guys. If you like today's video, or you go out and avoid buying one of these houses, or you know somebody that's bought one of these types of houses, please support what I'm telling you today. Put the story in the comments below, guys. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, support this channel. I want to help you grow your business, so help us grow this channel, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.